Every day you experience stress at work, on your way to your work, at home, when you turn on the news. No one is immune to stress. You hear about mindfulness, sleep, exercise, and other healthy habits to help with stress management. But if you're looking for some additional actionable, easy, pretty low time investment techniques to improve your resistance to stress or your ability to respond to daily stressors, watch this video till the end. First, let me just clarify that stress is actually good for us. Moderate amount of stress has shown to improve our overall well-being, but a lot of us, unfortunately, are living in the circumstances when we are exposed to long chronic stress that oftentimes is outside of our control. That's why I think it's important to get into habit of practicing some stress releasing techniques on a regular basis. I'm not saying every day, it's not a religious practice, but getting into a habit of preparing your nervous system to respond to stressful events, because no matter what, for sure, we all will have stress. So these techniques generally take usually under 10 minutes of your time, and you can practice them after a long day of work or in the breaks. See where it will fit better to your life schedule. And actually, most of the times, for most people, they work pretty quickly. They can give you an immediate effect, but if they don't, that's okay, that's also normal. Sometimes it might take a few repetitions over time for us to fully feel it, but don't give up if the first time doesn't really give you that magic fix. One more point, these are the tools you can use. You don't have to use all of three. I would invite you to try 3 of them and see which one kind of lands better for you. But these are just your arsenal. This is your playbook. You can choose one or alternate them or don't do any of them. It's up to you. But I think this could be your new superpower, your secret tool, your secret weapon against the life's circumstances. So here we go. Number 1, progressive muscle relaxation. A recent systematic review in psychology, research, and behavioral management published in February 2024 that analyzed 46 studies from 16 countries, covering over 3,400 patients, demonstrated that progressive muscle relaxation is effective in reducing stress, anxiety, depression in adults. When progressive muscle relaxation is combined with other interventions, the combined techniques have also consistently exhibited enhanced efficacy, meaning it was even more powerful. Moreover, findings also indicated that efficacy of progressive muscle relaxation is heightened when implemented together with other treatments. An example of progressive muscle relaxation practice will be posted on this channel. However, you can also find it for free on many YouTube channels or on apps. It is basically a technique when you compress your muscles and release them in a sequential pattern, and you pay attention to the feeling of tension and relaxation of those muscles. And you do this with guided breath. So this is one of my favorite techniques for relaxation because it actually anchors my mind on the muscles rather than letting it kind of wander around and get hooked on the thoughts when mind gets really busy and meditation practice maybe doesn't necessarily cut it for me. Number 2, guided imagery. In this technique, one replaces the current thoughts with positive imagery of a vacation place or a forest or something that's really pleasant. And the emphasis is on engaging the participant into a more detailed perceptual detail of the experience as if it is happening right now. During my medical school surgical rotation, the winter time in Ottawa was quite difficult for me to cope with. I had to be up at 4 a.m. to be in the hospital for 5 a.m. rounds. It was always dark, it was super cold. I had to dig my car out of the ice to get to the hospital, and I had basically no free time and no time to see my friends or attend to my hobbies. Also, I was feeling very insecure. The senior residents were so amazing, but at the same time, for some reason, I felt very intimidated and stressed. So when I was coming home in the evening, guided imagery of a vacation to the beach that was bringing me back to the sandy beaches of Punta Cana was my mental escape that really helped me get through it. For those 10 minutes, I could feel the warm air, I could hear the sounds of the birds, of the waves, the sensation of this warm, soft sand of Punta Cana shores. So I think those 10 minutes in the evenings allowed me to have that little bit of a mental break. The idea behind this is that the brain doesn't really know what's happening in the real time. It's about what you imagine and what your thoughts are. Just think about the elite athletes that sometimes mentally rehearse the tasks that they need to perform, or how they play the game, for example. It's a similar idea. You mentally rehearse the positive state in which you are on vacation or in a cabin or in the woods. You can also find guided imageries online, plenty of them, and on this channel as well. Deep breathing, also known as diaphragmatic breathing in some sources. This is a type of practice that gives you access to your parasympathetic nervous system. Reminder, sympathetic nervous system is responsible for fight or flight response, brings your heart rate up, brings your breathing rate up, makes your muscles all activated, sometimes even causing the jitteriness or that kind of shakiness sensation, tension in all your muscles. While the parasympathetic nervous system is activated when we're in a safe place, things are kind of okay, and it's when we are ready to rest, digest, connect, and reproduce. Our heart rate will go down, the breathing rate will go down. It often is related to our vagal nerve function, and I will not get to the anatomy and the branches of it in this video, but if there's interest, I'm happy to make a separate video on polyvagal theory and stuff like that. But for the purpose of this practice, let me just tell you that through breathing, when we take a deep inhale in, which a lot of people take when they're feeling anxious, they start hyperventilating. That actually makes things worse, because when you take deep inhale, you're kind of bringing your heart rate up and your rest rate up. You're actually kind of firing your sympathetic nervous system. What brings up that relaxation response is actually the slowed, prolonged exhale. Oftentimes the pause between inhale and exhale will also help, but that prolonged exhale is the key to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Generally, when we inhale, the sympathetic system kind of activates, and when we exhale, the parasympathetic will get activated. And because of that, we have the sinus arrhythmia, which often could be measured by heart rate variability, which you can see on many wearable devices these days. And it kind of represents your level of flexibility of your nervous system and how well your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems can kind of switch from one another. So a practical example, I once had to give a shot to a young girl who was very scared of needles, but she needed to have an injection. So she started hyperventilating, and then I just took my time. We slowed down, we put her on a stretcher so that she could be resting comfortably, and then we practiced together box breathing with slow inhale, pause for 4, and slow exhale for 4. And we did it for a few rounds. And then finally, when she was a bit more calm, I was able to proceed and give her injection. I invite you to explore various breathing techniques. There are books now about breath. This was one of the most ancient techniques accessible to humanity to master the stress management. A lot of yoga practices, Tai Chi practices, a lot of contemplative practices will have that mind-body connection through the breath. And breath is always with you, so you can access it at any moment. I just also wanted to mention a quick technique of stress reduction described by Dr. Andrew Huberman in his podcast, and I think he's doing some research on it, which is a physiological sigh. Okay, so it's basically double inhale, single long exhale for 10 to 15 cycles, but there are some warnings and contraindications for this method, so please check that or talk to your doctor before implementing any of the above techniques into your routine practice. There are many more tools to achieving well-being, peace, and longevity. Remember, the things that you practice, the habits that you have today will compound over days, weeks, months, and years, and will determine the quality of your life in the years to come. Thank you so much for watching. May you be well, and I'll see you in the next video.